Hey everybody, I'm Mah-Dry-Bread. You already read the title of the video, so let's not waste any time. Let's get right into a new game here. So, I'm going to be teaching you the very basics of the game, basically what everything is that you need to know to get right into it. So, because you don't know yet, a whole lot of these traits, when you're picking your first team, are probably not going to make a whole lot of sense to you until later in the video, so if you want to skip ahead, go for it. Just know that Terran Republic is a really safe first choice. But if you want to watch this part first and see what it is that goes into choosing a faction, go for it. You have a few different species. Each faction here is of a different species, so some are going to be humans, some are going to be Drosk, some are going to be Corvus. Those are the main species in the game currently. Each species will have lower diplomacy or trust with the others by default, and they'll need to do a research to be able to speak each other's language. So if you're human and you're near other humans, generally that's good. Everyone starts with 3 positive traits and a negative one. The reason why I recommend Terran Republic early is their positive traits are okay, it's efficient, start with a little labor, which is like production in another game like Civilization. Seasoned politicians, they can change their leadership twice as fast. That has very good synergy with their seal. City defenders, their cities are a little bit harder to conquer, which is useful early on so you don't get rushed so hard. And their negative trait is doubles prosperity penalty of unemployment, which as long as you're focused on making sure you never have unemployment, which you never want unemployment, and it's quite avoidable in fact, that penalty barely ever comes into play. Your seal is a bonus that you have that is tradable. The seals are tradable, although at a high cost, or you could take them from somebody that you conquer. So their seal increases your growth of influence, which is quite slow to get and quite powerful. Every time you change your leadership, you'll get 20 turns of the improved growth. Now, that, along with seasoned politicians and being able to change leadership often, means that not only do you have a lot of flexibility with your bonuses, changing leadership all the time, but you could just have yourself be constantly under the effect of this seal, and that's a very powerful bonus. Lastly, everyone has an exclusive technology that they can get. This one would be calling for an edict to give harmony, which gives you bonuses towards growing your populations. And as you could probably guess from most strategy games, and especially 4X strategy games, having really high population cities is super important, and so growth is very, very valuable. So Terran Republic is kind of jack of all tradesy, but they have a lot of little bonuses towards growing their cities, and that makes them very powerful. So let's just hit next, and we'll have a default little world created here, and let's see what we get given. Alright, we're in the game. So the game will give you little quests like this that if you do them, they'll give you small bonuses here and there. You don't actually need to do them to beat the game or anything, but this is to help give you a little bit of direction, especially for new players. So right when you start, you're given Disable Tutorial, you are given your Transport Arc. This is basically a settler from any other game like this, any other 4X strategy game. Much like in, say, Civilization, there's a lot of debate over if you should spend any turns finding a better start location or if you should settle on spot. I tend to favor settling on spot, so for the sake of this tutorial, we will. You can see that we have all of our unit control stuff down here, but they're a hotkey to, like, C is to construct a city, so we'll just go ahead and make that. Okay, so a little bit on what we're looking at and how to control everything, because, you know, there's a lot going on this screen right now, but they kind of ease you into it, thankfully. This is our default planet. There's going to be many planets over the course of the game, which is pretty interesting. They're basically like different maps, and then space is its own series of maps. Looks like we're on a pretty Terran planet here. I'm seeing a lot of grasslands and everything. If we turn on resource yields, you can see food is pretty abundant on this planet. Now, when you're finding an area to create a city, obviously you want to look at your resources, you know, how much food, production, and science is there. Those are the main resources on tiles. But you're also looking for landmarks. So the 3 important ones are mountains. That is good if you have mines next to them or industrial sectors. Rivers, you want to have farms next to those. And the water's edge of the actual sea, you want to have research bases near them. So we're going to click on our city. This is our city view. This is where you control a decent amount of what it's done here. We have 1 unemployed citizen. You see 0 of 1. As you could probably guess, the city itself is worked by default, so we're getting all these resources. As you can see over here on the breakdown of the 3 resources, we'd gain another citizen in 10 turns. Generally, the strongest opening move is to build a farming district, because the more food you're getting and not eating, so the most extra food you have, the faster you're going to grow your cities, and in most games, growing your cities is a really great idea. You also see that we have a resource icon here, that is pyrite. You can see what technology we need for that, and we would need to make an extraction district on it to get some of that every turn. So I recommend not building over that with anything else. Now, something worth pointing out, to work these tiles doesn't just require population, it requires that we have a district of some kind on it. It doesn't necessarily have to match what's already on it. Like, that's food. I could build an industrial sector there, which is production. And whenever you're not building something in your city, then your production is being turned into money or credits, as it is here. So you don't always need to be building something with your city. I tend to like opening with a farming district to get the population going early. You can see that there's a little river icon to tip you off that, hey, this is a good spot, which it is. Also, that unemployed citizen who's no longer unemployed, he will start working that tile. Right now, he is just building the building. When it's done, we can have him assigned to it to actually give us the resources. Next, we start with a scout. Scouts have no attack power, just some health, some vision, and some movement. We can start scouting. We can see little goody huts here. These are ruins, not unlike in a civilization game. And you can just have random events searching them. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Generally, you want to search all the ones you find. So what did we get here? Discovered it was home to a band of Slust, and they're very annoyed. So that's an alien that's probably going to destroy us early. That's incredibly unlucky, but it happens sometimes. We also get to choose research. We always have research going. There's 4 tiers of research right now, and to get up to the next tier, you need enough knowledge. You get that through also doing research. And there's the different tiers of technology through the game, and if you get to the final one, you can beat the game through science victory. There's generally 3 paths in each one. There's the mostly military path, the mostly civic and political one, and the mostly science-based one. In what direction you want to start entirely depends on your situation, what kind of country you are, stuff like that. But in general, I like to start with trade initiates, because that will get you the financial district, which will increase the income of the city. And especially for us, where we always want to have the money to build new districts so we never have unemployment, that's really valuable to me. So I'm going to have that research going right away. And we're good there. We can just end that turn. And they're going to attack us. We might lose our initial scout, which is a bummer, but search then, hope for the best. Okay, we found 5 of a resource here. This kind of mushroom-y thing that I'm not even going to pretend like I know how it's supposed to be pronounced. That resource is used in hospital districts. Perfect. We've already found, this is of the Aeon cult, I think it was pronounced. So we already can get some diplomacy going just by seeing them. We're going to just go in their direction. Now, they're not on our diplomatic tab yet, are they? Oh, they actually are. I believe if we end our turn, they'll try and talk to us, but as we can see, they're a different species. We probably do not speak the same language as them. That should come up at the end of the turn anyway, because we met them. Okay, we found 300 credits worth. That's actually pretty nice early. Okay, so they started close to us, and they're building a military district right off the bat. Okay. Are they warlike? Spiritual, naturalist, harmonious, clumsy politicians. Okay. They have no direct military bonus right off the bat, and yeah, bureaucratic. Okay. I have no reason to believe that they're going to attack me right away, but they are going with the military district first. So military district is what allows you to build ground units, whether that be settlers or tanks or infantry or engineers. Any unit that walks along the ground is built through the military district. So that's a pretty strong opener. They're also building it over a forest, which will destroy the forest. Forests are used to help keep pollution down. As pollution goes up, basically the growth rate of the city goes down. Your growth is excess food, which gives you prosperity. That grows the city as well as the citizens. And harmony growth will also contribute towards how fast the city itself grows, and thus expands the borders. So she should talk to us here. Here we go. The High Priestess is trying to talk to us, but we don't know the same language. So all we can do is declare war if we want to. Costs 8 influence. We have 3 out of 10. And it is currently growing at 0.1 per turn. I don't know why it says 0.10. That's not a useful number to give us. All right, and we already have a settler over here from Muhi Industries. So that's another country there. They are another race. That's a Drosk. We don't know the same language as them either. If we go to our tech, though, we can see that we now have special projects of studying their communications. Once you've studied these, you'll be able to speak to any other country of those races that you've met. And I don't see any goodie huts, so we're just going to kind of figure out the perimeter, see what we can see in the area while we end a few turns. 5 turns until farming district is done. Yeah, he also doesn't know how to speak to us. First contact, by the way. Okay, so I may as well go over these now. There's no reason not to. So you have a few diplomatic options here beyond just trading with people, which is a different menu. We can praise somebody, makes them like us more for 30 turns. Costs influence. We can denounce someone, which will also make other people's trust of that person go down if people are denouncing them, but it also, of course, makes them like us less. We can declare friendship with them, which gives us a different relation with everybody based on how they feel about that person, as well as advancing us down the path of bliss. I'll be explaining bliss in a little bit. We can declare war. Obviously, we go to war with each other. Declare someone as my nemesis, as my rival. This actually builds our influence over time because we're considered to be, I guess, diplomatically more powerful or more threatening if we're declaring somebody our nemesis, if we're calling the shots, basically. Or we could start first contact. This increases knowledge for both of us, path of enlightenment, and starts to build a little bit of trust with them. In fact, we get a special project in our research to build more trust with them. Hopefully we'll find a human soon, though. We can do some diplomacy based on that. Okay, see some light infantries there. Again, neither of these people we're seeing are very warlike, but I don't like him sneaking this settler up here. He might be trying to take some land near me. In this game, sometimes they forward settle you hard. Like that. He just built a city right there. I'm recording this video while the game is still fairly early in development. Stupid AI things like that will probably be changed later, because the game is very well under development at this point. So we just got a citizen. You can see that citizen growth is stagnated. That's because we have no prosperity. Unemployment causes a dip in prosperity, double the dip because of the country we picked. So what we're going to do is we're going to want to build another industry here, or another district rather. For a second one, on the capital, I really like the military district. It doesn't add any extra yield to the tiles, but as you can imagine, it builds units, and you want to get the good land early, so you want to get some soldiers to be safe, and you want to get some settlers to actually get that land. Building a settler costs a citizen, by the way. Normally, I like to have an industrial district right about now to get that labor going, especially with all of these mountains here. You know what? I think I actually will do that. We're going to get that going. So that's going to be built after the farming district is done. I'm happy with that. And just keep exploring. Not seeing anything too interesting over here. Seals of power. Get a seal within 85 turns and we'll gain a bunch of influence. That is not the kind of thing that you really need to rush towards, if you ask me. The 8 influence is definitely nice if you can get it. But don't rush too hard to go conquering a neighbor unless you really feel like you have a good opportunity, or if you're a warlike race, then, no reason not to rush it. Take advantage while you have it. Another band of aliens appeared from that one. We're going to lose our scout that turn, almost for sure. Farming district's almost done, though. Yep, they're going to do the killing blow there. So we found an institute there, though. That's something interesting to tutorialize yourself on. Okay, we got the financial district unlocked. So this is an institute. Now that we've found it, these are like city-states in civilization games. So it is an independent little area that does its own thing, and you can have different diplomatic relations with it. You can buy different things from them based on what they're based in. These people do science stuff, so they have little modular upgrades you can buy from them to give to your units. You can build trust with them and everything by sending delegations with influence, making donations of money. Or if you have a lot of money, you can buy them out, and they'll pay you money per turn, and you'll use up a lot of influence, a lot of money, but relations with them will get quite good. You need to have good relations to be able to do that, at least at this point in development. I know they're toying with that a little bit. Okay, that's done, so we can see there's way more food on it. So here's a unique thing about this game that I don't think the tutorial teaches you well enough. You can select individual districts by clicking on them while you're not in the city view, and there's different upgrades for them. We can drop 100 money right now on getting the food output of this up by 1. Do it. It takes 3 turns. The city itself doesn't even need to divert its attention to do it. There's no upkeep on that upgrade. Like, that's just a great upgrade. It's going to increase our food, which makes us get citizens faster, which is incredibly valuable. And they're working on that now. Okay, we can do our next technology. Again, what you want to do really depends on who's around you, who you are, stuff like that. If I were like someone really based in diplomacy, I'd probably go studying the communications really early. If I was a heavily science one, I'd get technocracy very early, because I mostly want to get to like medical miracle and hospital quarters to get my prosperity way up. By putting them next to residential districts. Probably rush that stuff in my second city, maybe to get population booming. And if I was going to war, I'd probably go into stuff like battle engineers. But I think I will go battle engineers, actually, earlier than I normally would, because it lets me teach you another mechanic of the game. And we've met another person who we don't speak the language of. We're getting quite unlucky on that, actually. Okay, working on industrial district there, and because it's adjacent to mountains, we'll be able to build mines in that. And our city leveled up to level 2, so it just took some more tiles, which is pretty nice. In fact, those aliens are still there. We're gonna have to fight them at some point. All right. Normally, right now, we wouldn't be passing turns so fast. We'd be using our scout, but our scout is dead. We'd get 5 food out of that now. Nice, shaved a few turns off the next citizen. Very much want another citizen. Sure, save over the old autosave. We very much want to get a new citizen because we'll need somebody to be building and working in the military district. In fact, military district, there's no adjacency bonus for it, at least at this point in development, so I'm just going to drop one wherever. Right there is fine. So they'll work on that right after they're done the industrial district. Don't like that they have soldiers right there. Hope they're not going to declare on us. They probably don't have the influence to declare on us, honestly. Industrial district is done. There we go. Production's way up. And we're also getting the food and the science that was just on the tile. And we can upgrade this with mines. It'll generate some pollution, but it's dirt cheap, no upkeep on it. And even when we're not using the labor to build any district or anything, we can use that labor for getting money. So very valuable to us. Battle engineers done. I'll explain exactly how. You see, we didn't unlock units. We unlocked a missile launcher and a sunstorm phaser. I'll show you how that works in a little bit. I'd actually like to unlock. You know what? Let's actually go into this a little bit. There we go. So what we're unlocking there, by the way, is not immediately useful to us. It's a new government type, and I will be explaining government types soon, but we cannot change them yet, probably. Yeah. Next leadership changed in 2 turns. So I'll explain that whole mechanic, the government mechanics, in 2 turns when that becomes a bit more relevant to us, because it's kind of in a cooldown at the start of the game. There we go. The mines are done, so we're now up to 8 labor. Beautiful. We're doing quite well now. Military district done in 2 turns, and we can finally start building our army. You can see they have a military district right there as well, so they're probably going to try and fight us. And yeah, they have soldiers there. They're building a farming district. They're trying to get what they can out of that little city, but it was a really stupid place to place a city. Gained a new citizen in right. Beautiful. And they're immediately working at the military district. Good. So, we can do a leadership change now. So we're going to go up to edicts and leadership. So first here we have our edicts. We can pass different edicts. This will give us different levels of liberty, pragmatism, or authority, which is the requirements for different government types. And it has little effects itself, and they'll cost usually money, influence, or both. So we could authorize slavery. This will give us some authority. Increases labor in our cities, but gains the slaver trait. So the affinity with every other faction goes down. They don't trust us as much. We could have 30 turns of increasing our income at the cost of 3 influence, and that will give us a level of pragmatism. All kinds of little things like that. Prepare for the war effort, give us authority, give us some production for a little while to, you know, build up for a war. All kinds of little things like this. So some of these are single-use edicts, like give a speech about the economy, give us liberty, and it'll give us progress towards Gaia, which I will show later. or passive effect ones. So these are ones we can turn off later. So this will cost us money for every city, but increase prosperity for every city. That's free healthcare. So, you have to weigh whether you want the population growth or whether you want the money that you can save by not having it. And then there's fixed duration, there's passive, single use. Passive ones you can turn off later, you can cancel them later. So, right now we're bureaucratic government. Requires nothing, does nothing. But we can change it now. By default, and you get more of these through technology, we have laissez-faire and we have heavy-handed. So you can see there's requirements. This requires 2 liberty, this requires a pragmatism and an authority. But they have different bonuses. So with laissez-faire, we have better harmony growth, which will have our cities grow faster, and our prosperity goes up for every 2 residential districts in that city. So laissez-faire very heavily weights you towards getting large population cities. Residential districts are all about city growth and taking tiles. And if you put hospital districts next to them, then it'll also increase your prosperity even more, which is citizen growth and whatnot. So this is all about growing your cities. Heavy-handed gives you a lot of city health and counterattack, as well as some labor. So that's developing your cities through labor and mostly used for military. So what we could do is pass some edicts to get the requirements done. For instance, if we were to do free healthcare right now, so we're making less money, but we have the prosperity for city growth, then that's 2 liberty. That's enough for laissez-faire government, which I'm a big fan of. And as you know, if you watch the beginning, as the Terran Republic, we get a bonus every time we change government of how quickly we build up our influence. So we're going to be building it faster for 20 turns, I believe it is. And the nice thing about that is, because of our ability, if we can change government twice as fast, it'll only take us 18 turns before we can change it again. So we can keep flip-flopping between different government types to keep the bonus active. Normally it would take 35 turns, I believe, to get a new government type. And we got a quest here, keep the pollution for 25 turns under 1. And what are we gaining per turn in pollution here? Oh, it's about to go over 1. Yeah, that's not happening, because we're gaining a lot of pollution, and we only have 1 forced to get rid of pollution. Later, we can get rid of pollution, mostly through local projects. You've seen me do districts. Local projects are tech-based. They're little things you can have in the village that do different in the city that do different bonuses. For instance, a university. You could build a university. It gives a little bit of pollution, has an upkeep of a gold credit a turn. However, decreases the the cost of research districts in the city. So the upkeep of it, as well as the initial building of research district, which I'd love to have research district on the coast right there, because that's where they really thrive, but it could be good anywhere. We are done the military district, though, so we can build ground units and armor units. We can also make custom units, which we will be doing in a bit. Let's really quickly, it takes 2 turns, just pop out a light infantry, and I'm also going to queue up, I will queue up a settler? No, because the second I queue it up, it'll use up the population, so let's not do that yet. Let's queue up a light tank after that. So we're just going to have some basic units coming out. And I'll show you something interesting once they come out. Alright, your citizens applaud. This is a random event. You don't need to read it if you don't want to. What matters is the tooltip on all of these, on what bonus you want to get. We can gain cities' prosperity up by 3 for 30 turns, which is quite strong, actually. Gain 2 influence, which is also quite strong. That would normally take us like 20 turns to get. And lose a little money, get a little Path of Gaia. That's not super strong to me. I'm going to take the prosperity and really jack up the growth of Right, which is our capital. Between the laissez-faire government and the free healthcare and the really strong farming district and that bonus and all the things we did, our prosperity is 9, which is very strong at this early in the game. So we're very much focusing on city growth at the moment. And getting a little bit of an army out would be nice as well. There we go. We got that technology done, and we have our light infantry out here. So what we're going to do is check out his design. This is a very interesting mechanic of the game, is designs. So you get these through either purchasing things from institutes or through technology, military technology, but you get to actually equip your different designs here, and your units can cost more or less labor to build, and credits to pay for based on what kind of equipment you give them. So we have no infantry armors right now. We have 3 different kinds of weapons. He has the default Hellfire rifle. You can see it does extra damage against creatures, so like alien creatures, but is bad against armor. And he has the field loudspeaker, so he can do a rallying cry with some ether, or aether. Ether or aether, you can get it off certain tiles that are a spring of it, or you can get it through killing enemies. So you get a lot through warfare. We could give him the ISO missile launcher, which is explosive damage 45, and it does extra damage to armored units. It's an anti-tank rifle, essentially. Or we could give him Sun Storm Phaser, which we also researched. This is ray damage. But you can see it costs a special resource of Osium, I believe is pronounced, but we don't have a source of Osium right now, so we could trade for it with another race, or perhaps we can make a city near a source of Osium, do the research we need, get an extractor district, and make our own. Try and use radioactive weaponry on our enemies. And with special, we could be giving him the field loudspeaker for the rallying cry, or a scouting kit, so he can see farther, although it doesn't apply to when he's on mountains, and have him be like a scouting group. You can do all kinds of little upgrades like that. In fact, there's a whole menu for it, units. You can also have things as obsolete designs if you don't like them anymore. Oop, that was a misclick, sorry. And you can create new designs. Like I want an armored vehicle. Yeah, let's have a light armor vehicle. Defense, we don't have anything researched for it. I can give it an engineering kit so it can turn itself into an outpost if needed. You can see that adds to the cost. And I wanted to have destroyer rockets, good against cities and star bases. So this is like artillery. So we've made a little artillery engineer thing here. You can see that's going to be the cost of it. And an outpost is a little building that you can make out somewhere on the map quite easily. It'll have its own unique a bit of labor, usually quite low, and it makes units. So you can use that to make units independent of your cities if you'd like to. They tend to make it a lot slower, but you can have this in remote areas when you can't quite get a settler out there. Or even put this on foreign planets that you haven't settled on yet, so that you have some ability to make units there. Or you could use it as a forward base to basically be like a guard tower in an RTS and delay the enemy, or be a supporting structure to give you a backbone out in the field, which is a very cool mechanic in the game. We're not going to do that right now, though. We don't really have any incentive to do that. Oh, here we go. There's some Osium right here. Maybe we want to settle around here, see if we can get a supply of Osium. So let's just scout that little area real quick. And choose a research. Why not armored warfare? Get reinforced plates for our armor units that we're working on. You can upgrade units that have already been made, by the way. So we can update his design and then pay the cost for him to upgrade to it, which is great because they have experience points, these units. So as he gets kills, you know, maybe he'll be a lot more talented than he used to be, but he doesn't have the equipment of our new people. Well, we can pay to upgrade that. So we have another little institute place here. This one is share knowledge. We can gain some trust with them, or rather, we get knowledge off them, which would help us get to the higher tiers of technology faster at the cost of some influence. They can sell us medical supplies if we don't have a source of Ethereum. Bribe politicians. We give them money, they give us influence. That's actually quite strong. And invite migrants. We add a new citizen to our capital at the cost of a bunch of influence. Debatable if that's worth it. But as you can see, different, let's call them city-states, have different things that you can trade for. And you know what? Let's get a little bit of experience. Let's fight some weak enemies here. So you can see when I hover over this enemy that I want to attack. Over here, it will show the health of both people. It'll show any kind of terrain modifiers that matter, and it will give us the approximate damage both of us will do. This isn't really too heavily in my favor, but I'm going to do it for the sake of the tutorial. So they have their little fight there. There you go. If they want to be really mean, they'll attack and die, and these ones will attack and we'll probably lose our unit. That's not a fight I would actually commit to normally, but that's how that works. And you can tell your people to set to rest, restoring a third of their health on the next turn, if you'd like to. So I'm just going to tell him to rest there, and the game will let me know when he's healthy again. And we have our light tank available here as well. And I think I'm actually just going to keep it right here. So I'm just going to hit H so he basically goes to sleep and waits for me. I'm also going to get going, how many citizens do we have? We're about to get one more citizen. Okay, then I'm gonna get a settler going. So you can see our population just went down. Now where are people working? Okay, I'm gonna move it to there so that he's actually using the, he's actually going to be gaining the, English is a difficult language, everybody. I'm having someone work on that so he is actually making the settler. Unfortunately, you pay the citizen when you start making it, not when you actually get the unit, which is a little frustrating. However, it wouldn't surprise me at all if later in development... Okay, we lost our infantry. Whatever. It wouldn't surprise me at all if later in development they decide to change them. Keep in mind this is being made while the game is in early access. However, it is far enough on in development that you can probably trust that after this game is released, everything I'm teaching you is still probably pretty accurate. Now, the last thing I really want to teach you here before I think you really understand the game, I feel like you pretty much understand everything you need to know to play the game, except I want to teach you about paths. So what we're going to do is we're just going to end a whole lot of turns until we're at the next path. You'll notice that a lot of things in the game, got a new citizen, beautiful, he's auto-assigned right to our district right there, so we're back up to being useful. I'll get a spaceport going now, actually, because there is another thing on top of that I want to teach you, and that'll be useful for it. So, oh, another citizen up there. Looks like somebody's trying to do something. Paths. We should be getting a notification probably pretty soon that we have advanced in a path. This is a little bit like, what was it? The Supremacy, Purity, and Harmony, I believe it was called, mechanics in Civilization Beyond Earth, if you're familiar with that. Citizen's done, by the way, and I think I want to be over here. I'm sure they won't be happy about me being near them, but I do want the medical supplies for the sake of our city growth. So that's what we'll do. And those two can't go over top of each other, unfortunately. So we will just, what was skip turn again? K, got it. And spaceport is done, so we're gonna move our guy to the spaceport and have them building a scout ship. And I'll show you some cool things on how that works later. So, basically what it is there's 4 different fields. There's Enlightenment, there's Gaia, there is Ember, and there is Bliss. These paths are all different paths you get through technology, through events, through all kinds of things in the game. And what they do, it's another person we can't talk to, of course. What these paths do is they give you a choice between a few different bonuses that you can take, and that none of them are mutually exclusive or anything. So Path of Ember is our farthest path right now. We still have not gotten anything here for it. You can see paths. You can see we have the most progress towards Ember by a lot. In fact, just a tiny bit more Ember and we'll probably actually get a tech there. So anything else here give Path of Ember? No, of course not. It'd be too lucky for me. This gives you a little Path of Bliss, which is nice. Path of Bliss, Path of Enlightenment. So the way these paths work, I'll show you here. You'll get a notification at milestone reached at 10. Okay, we'll show here because we might not reach it too quickly. So available options, we get to take one of these 3 bonuses. They last as long as they say they do. So if there's no time limit, you get them forever. And you just take these bonuses as you go along. And you can get bonuses in every single direction, but obviously you're going to be progressing farther into one thing than others. Path of Bliss tends to be about city development and having really clean, good cities. Gaia is more than anything about harmony and low pollution. Bliss is about sorry, I didn't describe it as well. Bliss is about the city construction and the growth, but also a bit more heavily weighted towards diplomacy, whereas Harmony, Gaia, is a little bit more of harmony with the environment. Enlightenment is all about technology and the pursuit of knowledge, and as you'd imagine, Ember is about supremacy and taking out other countries and everything. So I feel like it's pretty much exactly how you'd assume it is. So I'm gonna make a city right here. There we go. I'm happy with that. Unemployed citizen. I'm just going to immediately extract a district on that. Or do we not have the tech? We do not have the tech for that. What tech was associated with Ethereum again? Or Ethnium. Ethereum. That's difficult. That is Medical Miracle, which we're working on right now. Okay, so we'll be able to get that soon. In the meantime, I'm not digging that we have no rivers here, but I still do really want food. So, you know what? We'll actually get production early. I'll go with an industrial district. And although this tile is really good, we would be tearing down the forest, which would hurt pollution. I think I'm going to be one with nature for a little bit longer. Last thing I want to teach you here, scout ship we have available. So they can fly around here and they can scout if we want them to, but I can send it into orbit. We've sent it into orbit. This is space. We can move around exploring space, as you can imagine. And Cult's declared war on us. Okay. We don't really have to worry about that. We can get space debris like this. We got some money's worth of space debris. And it works just like moving on a planet, you know? There's a little quick map here to go between places. The Rift, here's our home solar system. As we fly around, we can find planets that we can research how to settle in the future and meet different races and everything. And there'll be more maps like this. And it's exactly how you'd think it would be. It's more planets. It's like Civilization or any other fork strategy game, but you have more planets available to you. Now that's Muhi Industries right there. Good. I'm happy it wasn't them that declared war on us. But I kind of get the feeling that perhaps I should emergency get a little bit more infantry. But I think that's all you really need to know to be able to play the game. I feel like that's a pretty good overview right there. So I hope that you found this video useful and fun. I have a lot of these tips videos as well, tons of Let's Plays and everything. I'm sure I'll have links in the description if you find that interesting. But most of all, I have a link to my Twitch TV page where I stream all the time on it. Feel free to jump on over there and yell at me to stream some Pax Nova for you, and I'd be happy to, because I actually really like this game. I like a lot of strategy games, and it'd be really cool to just say hi to you. And I'll hang out. My streams are very casual and very relaxed, and the community is very welcoming to new people. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.